welcome on stage. Big applause for the three of you. Felix, you are the founder of Planet Matters. What is Planet Matters and why did you start it?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Planet Matters is, as the name says, Planet Matters, a worldwide movement that is there to inspire people all over the world to care for the planet and to pick up plastic waste from beaches, from riversides, and from practically anywhere in nature. And we grew to be a community of over 3 million followers on TikTok and have people from the heights of the Himalayas to the lows of the ocean picking up plastic waste. And this is where we are right now. We also built an app that rewards people for each piece of plastic they pick up from nature with coins that they can redeem for discount and vouchers at partner companies. And yeah, this is where we are right now. I grew up in Austria, actually in the south of Austria. And I was always very fascinated with being a businessman and starting my own business. And I also always knew that the biggest crisis we're facing at this moment that pretty much changes everything else we're dealing with is the environment. But I was never really sure how to get those two things together, the business side and also doing something and changing the world for the better. So when I was 16, I started building social media pages, meme pages, posting funny videos on the internet, and that went pretty viral. And then I thought to myself, if I make enough money, one day I will be able to buy myself those big boats you have. I don't know if you've seen the ocean cleanup that are going out there and collecting millions of tons of plastic out of the ocean. But then I thought to myself, hey, why should I wait this long? Why should I wait until I'm 50, 60 years old and have gray hair to make a difference? Why can I not start right now with the thing I'm best at, which is social media marketing? So I was actually on a train ride between Vienna and the south of Austria to come up with the idea for Planet Matters, which is basically a social media movement that spotlights people in different places in nature cleaning up, and we film videos, especially for TikTok, that come across as very entertaining. For example, one of our videos was one of our community members in Hawaii who picked up plastic underwater, and that got like 100 million views, and we're really trying to use this momentum to get people going and tell people you have it in your own hands to make a difference.
That's amazing. That's the action we need. Hannah, you founded the Eco Smart Club. Can you tell us what that is?
All right, thank you so much. So the Eco Smart Club is a school-based environmental club, and we also lead community projects for young people in Nigeria. By the way, my name is Hannah Omokaye. I am one of the 25 Eco Champions Eco Champion is a program by SOS Children's Village that helps empower young people in Africa to lead gender-responsive climate action. So my initiative works with students, teachers, because we are going into a green economy, and that green economy needs green skills and people who are climate conscious, who are able, regardless of their careers, able to intersect with sustainability and climate change. So my initiative is doing the work from ground up, going to secondary schools, because also in Nigeria, our curriculum doesn't include climate change. So we are, creating that space for young people in schools to come together, learn about climate change. And so far, we've been able to reach 3,000 students. We have also grown over the years. So from 7 schools to 28 schools. Last year, we had our first teachers training 10 teachers. And with the support from SOS Children's Village, we've been able to reach 52 teachers from 28 schools last month. And also, our initiative is also championing inclusive climate action, where we are also working with people with disabilities to help them organize, build green skills, and prepare for climate disasters. Thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you. Valerie, I think most of the people in the audience know you from television and cinema. You starred in Klammer, Chasing the Line, or on the Netflix show Kids. We know each other because we are both ambassadors of UNICEF Austria, but even if it's a very, very important topic, we are today not here to talk about children's rights, but we are talking about climate action because you became a very vocal climate action activist. When did you decide to become more involved in all the climate topics?
Well, thank you for being here. It's a great honor. Yes, I love acting, and I love my role as UNICEF ambassador with you. It's amazing. But I think it's not enough nowadays. We face so many crises, and it is our responsibility of every single one, but of course also of the politics on a global level, to get into action right now. And I grew up in Africa, in Uganda and Ivory Coast, and later in the US, and I was confronted and I saw social injustice quite early in my life. And I think the climate issue cannot be disconnected from a social issue because it's basically the same. So the people right now who feel the effects of climate change the most are the people who least contribute to it, and that are the people of the global south. So while we here in Europe live our luxury, our privileged lives through exploitation and through pollution, other people are facing drought and famine and wars over Rohstoffe right now. And they're losing their homes and they have to migrate and flee this minute. So this is a whole bigger topic than, it's not only about innovation, it's about a whole system change, to be honest. We need to rethink so many things in our society, and we need to think of others. We need to go back to solidarity and empathy, and not only look out for our own future, but for the whole global future, a good future for all.
Thank you, Valerie. Felix, what are your plans for Planet Matters? What is your big goal?
Yeah, my big goal is to not have so much plastic anymore in nature, so we don't have to go out and collect it. But that aside, we're right now launching our app in different countries that really gets people out to nature and experience how good it actually feels to go to your local nature and take a walk and take some trash with you and actually make a small, but if everyone does it, a very significant difference doing that. And of course, cleanups itself is not the solution to all the problems we're facing, also with pollution, but it's one part of the chain. But it's a very effective part, because when I see someone on the beach that is picking up half a ton of plastic waste with a few hours, and I see that beach being dirty and being clean after that, it gives me a good feeling, and it gives me a feeling of hope and of strength that I have it in my own hands to start where I can and where I'm best at. So that doesn't mean that people who watch our videos posted on TikTok have to think, okay, I now need to go to nature myself and start a cleanup, but they can also think to themselves, okay, wow, maybe this piece of plastic, this plastic bottle that is laying there on the ground could have been mine. Maybe I start using less single-use plastic. So our goal is really to get our message across, get as many people possible out into nature, experience how it feels to make a difference, and thereby change the world bit by bit.
That's amazing. Hannah, I see you have something in your hand. Do you want to show us what you brought for us?
Thank you. All right, so when we started reaching out to people with disabilities, different kind of disabilities, we started having conversations with them. What does it look like to be in their shoes, especially when climate disasters like flood or heat waves, what's their experience? And we found out that it was very unique. And, in a climate disaster, they are more at risk of, death, and they lack the capacity to adapt. But one of the solutions when we're speaking with people, deaf individuals, they spoke about their challenges, the potential challenges that they may face when there's a disaster and they need to communicate with other people, or they need to hear, what other people are saying. So Flashcards are common in the deaf community, so they are like sign language in cards that help people master the cards. But this time we're creating a first-of-its-kind tool. Sorry. So first of its kind tailored to climate disaster. So it contains 35 emergency words that a deaf person can use to communicate with other people in the public. They're color-coded.
Hold it a little silent for the camera to catch it. Maybe we can show it to everyone. Yeah, perfect. Okay, please continue to explain.
Yeah, so they are in different languages, in English and indigenous languages. And they also have descriptions and contact of emergency numbers that they can call, and even mental health professionals that can help them during a climate disaster. Thank you.
That's amazing. Very good idea. Valerie, I know you also wrote a book, right? The title is Homo sapiens, verpassen wir die heile Welt. I think it's loosely translated into Are we missing the perfect world? What made you want to write that book?
Yes, the question is, are we missing out on a good future, basically? And I think a lot of young people nowadays feel so hopeless, and the future doesn't look that bright anymore because there's a lot of politicians out there right now not doing a good job. And the future is going to be our future and not their future. They're not going to be there to actually live through it. So my goal with this book was to state all the things that are not going well on this planet, but to also show some solutions. What can we actively do to change that? And the truth is that we really need a 180-degree shift in everything we do in our society. We need to rebuild and rethink every segment: the agricultural sector, the clothing industry, the transportation industry. And this is a huge chance. This is a big opportunity for humanity to return to the human core that we've kind of neglected a bit in the last decades. And I think we need to step away from this idea of growth. We've always sold that growth and profit is the biggest goal of our society, but it shouldn't be. It should be well-being, and it should be sustainability for all of us, and a good future for everybody. And so this is my message with this book, and that we should all stay hopeful and all get into action and do something, whatever it is. It can be a small thing, but just to stand up and be loud, and to vote for the right parties, and to go to your local politician and be like, hey, you promised us this, but you didn't do it. And I think also today, let's talk to the politicians here and be like, where is the climate action that you promised us? Because, yeah, we're not going to let them get away that easily.
Thank you. So, before we come to an end, maybe the three of you can tell us what advice would you give our audience? What are your learnings? Any thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, I just saw Arnold coming back to this room, and actually I know Arnold because of Yoshi Kreiner. And Yoshi Kreiner, he was the governor of Styria, and his father, also the governor of Styria, he always had a little note in his briefcase. There was the Serenity Prayer. And I think one of the advices I want to give today is saying this Serenity Prayer. And it goes something like this: God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to tell the things apart. And I think that this is really the message: to go out there and focus what you can do with your skill set, with your influence, and start wherever you are. We're starting with picking up trash wherever we see it in nature. Someone else builds a technology or maybe goes into politics. And let's just all collaborate and really show that the way we see things matters, and that we step up together and do it bit by bit. And nobody's perfect, but we're going in a direction, and we all need to get together for this.
That's the action we need, yes. Hannah, what about you?
So my advice to everyone is to pursue intergenerational collaboration. I mean, in the spirit of uniting for environmental action. As much as I'm pro-youth, let's have young people. I do believe that older people have the wisdom. You've been on earth, you've worked so much, you have so much money, resources, and you have so much wisdom. So we need more spaces, I mean, such as this, but more young people though, where, you know, the two generations can really come together. As an elder, how are you empowering young people in your area, in your spheres of influence, you know, to be able to lead change? And as a young person, we need to create that open heart to learn, to receive, and to engage. So that's my message, and also especially for young people in the global south. I share the same thoughts about young people losing hope. We are going through eco-anxiety, different multiple crises, unemployment, all happening at the same time. And in this moment, I'll say we need rest. We need to also take action. So no matter how little, no matter how small, do something. And I'm inspired by Arnold's speech today. So stop whining and take action. Thank you.
Valerie, brief, small words.
I totally agree with this. I think when people are scared, they either fall into fright, flight, or fight mode. And it's time for all of us to fall into fight mode. We need to stand up and get active and fight for our future. And on the other hand, be mindful. Be mindful of nature, of each other, and of ourselves. Go outside into nature, do sports, meditate, whatever. But we need this mindfulness and this thoughtfulness of other human beings and animals on this planet. And yes, get active, everyone. Woo!
Thank you so much. Valerie, Anna, Felix, thank you.